Okay, before we can move on, John, you want to halt the show here?
I do, and I don't know if anybody could hear this over the microphone, but I got the mom finger snap.
You did.
And because, what was it, Sam?
Ray.
Sorry, Ray. When Ray said Damone, I started to laugh because then I thought back to, not only was that funny, and sorry, Ray, but I started to instantly hear the Desmones drop that we've had
from a previous two
Grand Slam. And when I started to laugh, all I heard then, I wasn't even looking at Heather, is I look up and she is giving me the throat slash. Cut it off.
I know, because it was making me laugh, which was then making me have a hard time reading the next set of questions. So it was like,
I got the mom finger snap.
That's a mom move.
Yeah.
Did you pick that up in the last 3 or 4 years?
Yep, sure did.
Cut that off right now. Wait till your dad gets home. I keep waiting to get some of those things. Colin's going to come in here and set it straight.
Watch out.
Damone, yes. Which, I mean, how do you not? Look, Heather, how do you expect me not to laugh?
I do expect you to laugh, but maybe...
I didn't make eye contact.
Yes,
I put my hat down. I actually wore my hat today. Yeah, my head was down, and maybe it's the body shake because I'm laughing.
Maybe save it for... the laugh was appropriate, but
yes.
just I needed to focus, and you were throwing me off.
I got the finger snap. When's the last time you got a finger snap from your mom?
I don't know, it would have been in like high school or middle school. I mean, we're talking forever ago.
Mm-hmm.
Cut it out.
Mm-hmm.
John, you have a recent... Has Lisa given you that recently?
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate that. I don't think I have a recent one where, maybe I was getting upset with the kids.
Knock it off.
And she was, no. Hey, John, stop it. No, she's going to pull out the full name probably before she pulls out the finger snap.
Okay.
Jonathan Ward Jansen.
Ward.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Thanks, Grandpa.
I had a Lions note. We don't need to spend a ton of time on it, but maybe there's something here, John. Something or nothing. In the NFL, we have 2 second-round picks that have signed their contract, which means we have 30 that haven't.
Mm-hmm.
Tate Ratledge is one of those 30 who hasn't signed his contract. We have a bit of a solidarity going on. Like, guys want fully guaranteed deals. The first and I believe the second picks of the third round each got guaranteed contracts. So now the holdup is everybody else in the second round is saying, fully guarantee my deal or I'm not signing. And they're all standing in solidarity here. So there's a bit of a holdup. The Lions and the Chargers play in the Hall of Fame game, so they're going to be the first 2 teams back out to the practice field. Trey Harris was the second-round pick for the Chargers. They're dealing with this too. He is unsigned. Something or nothing, because Ratledge is supposed to be a key cog in this year's football team. I don't like that this would linger and he'd miss even a second of reps or ramp-up time going into the season because he needs all he can get on his plate to get up to speed.
So the 2 picks, 33 and 34. Jaden Higgins for Houston was 34, and Carson Schlesinger for the Browns was 33. They both got the guarantees in their contract. I get that it's such a small part of the salary cap, but we all know that even in the first round, right, it's a gamble on any one that you're taking. There is no sure thing. There are others, there are some that you feel confident about that for at least 4 years, they're going to be a contributor to your team. On what level, you never really know. And then it's your option to pick up that 5th year or not if you're a first-round pick.
Yeah.
But all of that has been collectively bargained. What has not been collectively bargained on the player's side is guaranteed contracts in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, all the way down to the 7th round.
And they're kind of trying to do it
I'm curious as to how many agents, because we went through this whole thing recently about collusion in the NFL and not having guaranteed contracts for vets, let alone for draft picks. I'm curious as to how many agents are representing the other
30 guys.
30 guys.
Is it, 6 guys that are pulling the strings, trying to pull a power play.
Right.
I don't really care about the other teams. I don't really care about the precedent. I want Tate Ratledge out there when the team breaks camp Sunday?
Yes, but that's not how this works.
Well, no, it is. I run my team. I can hand him a fully guaranteed contract, and to hell with everybody else. I don't care if Arthur Blank and the Falcons get put in a rough spot or Ziggy Wolf and the Vikings don't like it. You deal with your holdouts. I don't want to hold out from a guy who's my starting center potentially this season. So,
and then
yeah,
for
dude, I'll guarantee
the
you,
rest of time,
half a percentage of the contract.
You're going to be guaranteeing every second-round pick from here on out.
Yeah, a half a percentage of the salary cap, I'll guarantee. I don't really have this apprehension to it, and I don't think the Lions should either. Pay him, let everybody else deal with it, and get him on the field.
Trust me, as a former player, as a union rep, something that I really wanted to see was more guaranteed money. And now we're starting to see it for the vets, which I think is appropriate. But I don't necessarily know that a second-round pick, and I was a second-round pick, that guaranteed money is going to become a thing. And I don't necessarily know that it should be. It's one of those things where, hey, the further down the list you go, the less guaranteed that you are actually going to be a contributing member of that team this year or in the future.
So let's try to put you in today's world. So you're a 2025 pick, second round, went 37th.
Yeah.
Aaron Gibson goes first round and is getting guaranteed money from the Lions. How does that make you feel?
Well,
do you still look at it?
I was pissed at the time.
I know, but I know that the whole salary thing was completely different back then.
Yes.
What's negotiated right now? Like, where would you try to hold out?
Let's say a couple second-round picks are getting fully guaranteed. You're an early second. Are you showing up to camp and signing a deal that's not fully guaranteed?
I am.
Okay.
I am because I am of the mindset that I'm going to go out there and prove it. And I know I'm confident in myself, in my abilities. The whole thing is the injury risk. Now, there are certain things that are different now in terms of injury that we didn't have back in quote unquote the day. And so there are more protections for players. So no, I would go into camp thinking, all right, I'm going to prove, just like Amon-Ra St. Brown did. I'm going to look at all of those guys and I'm going to outperform all of those first rounders. So that when my time comes up for my second contract, now that's when you pay.
So teams don't want to do this because then you're opening Pandora's box of this changing in the next CBA.
The thing we're afraid of is we're going to guarantee second-round contracts, which make up a 0.5% of the salary cap. So if the deal goes bunk, because there's no guarantees, I have to eat 0.5% of the salary cap. Well, for a player who I took in the top 60 in the draft, who is going to start in a lot of cases, especially on bad teams, but even in the case of the Detroit Lions, Ratledge, whether it's center or guard, is a starter. So that's
what you're planning on, as long as your scouting department and your evaluation all plays out.
Do you want him to start behind? Because if these guys all stand in solidarity and say, we're not signing because, well, a couple second-round picks are getting guarantees, I'm not going to be the one that breaks rank, you're going to miss time with your starting offensive lineman in training camp who's never been in the National Football League. Okay. I don't like that. I'll guarantee 0.5%. That's worth the trade-off to me. For the end of time, I'll guarantee second-round picks.
Okay, then
so you're going to do that with Onwuzurike?
Yeah. The downside is so small.
Okay,
0.5% of the salary cap.
And then next year, it's the third-round picks that are holding out.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's the fourth-round picks.
See,
the leverage drops the less valuable you are. See, first-round rookies are super valuable and they're fully guaranteed. I'd argue day two picks in a lot of cases are considered starters for these teams.
I think there'll be some modified version in the next CBA for day two picks, what you just said. But it doesn't encourage taking a risk in the draft because you're all of a sudden guaranteeing somebody money. So you might be less willing to take a chance.
So the other guy...
You're going to take Hendon Hooker. Think about it. Hendon Hooker would be getting guaranteed money.
Speaking
Jamar
of
loves
quarterbacks, well, Jamar Westland would be thrilled with it.
Exactly,
He's a Hall of Famer in the waiting.
Yeah.
Tyler Shuck is a second-round quarterback, and I'm sure he's sitting there going, I'm going to be the starter potentially.
Okay,
I want some guarantees.
But here's the other issue is, okay, you guarantee a second-round pick, and then after that first year, that second-round pick is just, they're not going to perform. They're not playing. They can't stay healthy.
Yeah. And
you cut them after year one. Which does sometimes happen. It's not the contract that year. It's that full contract gets accelerated to that year that you're cutting that individual. So now it's a $5 million hit on that year versus, well, we're going to keep them around another year. We're going to waste a roster spot. There's other salary cap ramifications other than just
that year.
That year.
Fine. then let's talk about this from our perspective. It incentivizes drafting well and it penalizes drafting poorly. My team has Brad Holmes. I'll let everybody else figure it out. We are going to break rank as an organization. We're going to guarantee our second-round pick. He's a starter. It may come back to hurt us if we draft poorly in the future. That's a problem for you losers. I got Brad Holmes as my general manager.
All right, so you're expecting Ennis Rakestraw to be a major contributor this year, even though he was injured all of last year, didn't perform, and maybe they find out in training camp he just can't stay healthy, or he's just not the player we thought.
Well, then he's halfway through his rookie deal, and I got to eat 2 years of relatively low cost.
If you were to say we don't want him on the roster this year,
right now
it's all 3 years get accelerated to this year.
Yeah, but he's going to get a chance to play this year. I'm saying at the end of this season, we screwed up. Not every pick's going to be a home run. I got to eat 2 years at $3 million total for a team whose salary cap is almost $300 million.
There's a lot of teams that pick in the first round, and I get, okay, we got Brad Holmes. He's really good at the draft.
Yeah, let everybody else figure it out.
Okay, but there's a lot of teams that when a guy shows up in their facility and practices for the first time, they're like, oh my goodness, we made a huge mistake. And it happens at every round.
Guaranteed money is holding up 30 second rounders from signing, including the Lions' Tate Ratledge. It's 97-1.